There's a couple issues around sort of the state of the economy, the conversation around what's happening to the Canadian economy, and then sort of the political consequences of that. And as Pierre Poilievre tries to make it a point of vulnerability for the Prime Minister. But
who cares about the state of the economy? Details, minor details, right? Well, according to Rosie here, record number of Canadians lining up at food banks is just a political narrative. Yeah, we know that, Rosie. You've never had to line up at a food bank. We can see that quite obviously. So I hate being the bearer of bad news, but I have some mind-boggling revelations for those celebrating this new grocery top-up payment from the government. And they won't be happy with this one. Jobs are up. Cool. Or is it? Well, I've uncovered facts that they don't want you to know, so we'll take a look at that. But you get AI, AI for all, according to Carney. But the irony of this statement flew well above his head in the saddest way possible. My name is Ali Dengo, and this is The Right Call. Like, share, subscribe, hype this video up. Any interaction on this channel helps push the truth out, and maybe someday break that CBC-induced coma that so many Canadians are under. And if you're tired of that same old government and media BS and finally want some common sense commentary, well, smash that subscribe button, because you're in the right place. Today's episode is filled with irony. It's unbelievable, so stick around. You don't want to miss these details. It's kind of funny. But for now, what the hell? Like, I'm convinced that we live in a parody of what a country should actually be like. Have you checked your bank account? Because today, you might have received the brand new grocery top-up payment. Well, actually, it's not really new, and it's not really a top-up payment. It's just a rebranded GST HST credit, and it's actually kind of sad.
It's the 5th of June, great day to go shopping and to buy Canadian. 12 million Canadians will be receiving the Canada Grocery and Essential Benefit. This is a key affordability measures. We've heard from many Canadians that obviously affordability is top of mind. Saputo, that's Canadian.
Product placement alert. I wonder how much Saputo paid to be in this video. Isn't he like a crazy liberal? I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but that's a sick product placement. Good job, Saputo, bro.
Family comes from where? Colombia.
A brand new liberal voter, of course.
The good thing with the measure is that a family of 4 can receive up to $1,890 this year. And for a single person, you're close to $950. So it's a real savings for families and for people. You should come see us in Parliament.
No, dude. There's a million things I'd rather do than come see you at Parliament. My little fairy friend with the voice. He sounds like a fairy. What do you want me to say? And also, let's be honest, he didn't actually really buy this. I bet you he hasn't done groceries for himself probably in like 2 decades.
Merci à vous, bonne journée.
The first irony of today's episode, and it's filled with it, is the fact that they talk about affordability in this video, yet you spent money, your money, to produce this cringy video. Because let's be honest, you and I could produce this for $0. We'd do it with our phone, and it would take us like 5 minutes. But I am convinced the government hired a communications and PR agency or consultant firm to do so. Because, well, you know, it's free money. Who cares, right? Girl math. Irony number 2 is the fact that they rebranded the good old GST HST credit to be called the grocery top-up payment, which to me is kind of weird. Why would you want to highlight your failure in the name of your credit? Because again, you told us to judge you on the price of the groceries, and now today you have to give people money for groceries. Which brings me to a point I keep making time and time again. Which kind of self-respecting, prosperous nation needs to pay people money to be able to afford basic necessities of life like food? This ain't the hallmark of a thriving civilization, of a thriving country. This actually shows everyone that we're not doing okay. But of course, it's because we're looking at it the wrong way. Because if you look at it from the liberal way, the more dependent you make people on the teat of the government, the more power you hold. Which is obvious to anyone who understands the rules of power, taken directly from one of my favorite books ever, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. To maintain your independence, you must always be needed and wanted. The more you're relied on, the more freedom you have. Make people dependent on you for their happiness and prosperity, and you have nothing to fear. Never teach them enough so that they can do without you. Bam! Mind blown. This applies perfectly to the liberal decade that we've been going through. It's all about how to make you and I dependent on the government for our most basic need. And meanwhile, we're seeing the result. People are happy with the liberal. They want more of the liberal. Instead of teaching people to be self-reliant, to be independent, to be free, they just want you always barely teetering on the edge of catastrophe, but just fed enough and entertained enough that it goes way above your head. and you'll keep voting for them for some reason. And irony number 3, I don't even know if we're at 3 anymore. I'm going to start a little counter right here, but here's something that's really funny. It's Canadians cheering for this brand new grocery top-up, rebate, credit, whatever they call it, without realizing that they are getting less money than Carney spent on OJ, on orange juice, on his latest private flight, while using your money. 192 euros. That's over 300 Canadian dollars, which is more than what most people got today. And if you got anything, by the way, if you didn't, congratulations. You're doing better than most Canadians. But none of this really matters, because here's the mind-boggling revelation about this entire top-up payment that Canadians are sadly not understanding. It's your money. It's just being given back to you. Yeah, it's a credit on the GST. The GST that was collected every time you incurred an expense. But here's where the dumb government logic comes into play. First, they collect it. Well, the government doesn't collect it directly. Rather, they put a compliance and administrative burden on private enterprises to manage and collect and remit these taxes to the government. Then CRA has to process it, which means an extra bureaucratic cost associated with it. Then CRA has to remit it back to you, which means another layer of bureaucratic costs being incurred by the government. Then there's all the associated banking fees with all these hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of payments being sent. Isn't it just a thing of beauty? How to lose millions of dollars the government way. Instead of just, I don't know, cutting taxes and alleviating this entire administrative mess in the first place while getting the exact same result. But I guess there's only one drawback for the government by being this efficient. They don't get to run a massive PR campaign to pat themselves on the back for giving you your own money back. Now, can someone explain to me what in the world Carney is talking about over here?
And to that end, with Minister Solomon and colleagues, we're pleased to launch Canada's new AI for All strategy. That's AI governed by Canadian values, AI that is accountable to Canadians, AI that serves all Canadians. Our strategy has 3 guiding principles. The first is trust. We will protect your data, your privacy, and your children. Second, opportunity. We will empower Canadian workers, Canadian businesses, Canadian students with the tools to expand their knowledge, their expertise, and their futures. And finally, sovereignty. We will reinforce Canadian sovereignty so Canadians can make their own choices on how AI is built, governed, and used.
Like, seriously, I sat there listening and trying really hard to understand how? Like, or even what? AI guided by Canadian value? Like AI that offshores call centers to India? But did you catch the most hypocritical / ironic part of them all?
The first is trust. We will protect your data, your privacy, and your children.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Bill C2, warrantless digital info sharing. Bill C22, mandatory backdoors and metadata retention on all electronic services. Bill C8, power to throttle and cut cyber infrastructure. Yeah, kick you off the internet, why don't you? Bill C9, jailing you up to life in prison for mean posts online and dank memes on Twitter. Bill C11, government regulating all of what you see online, your online content. Bill C63, digital safety enforcement on speech and behavior. You can't seriously say, with a straight face, protecting your data and privacy while simultaneously writing 6 bills that let the state read your data, throttle your internet, and criminalize you for what you say. But that's not even the worst, because the ironies, ding, 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 are just endless. Because AI thrives on decentralization, open innovation, speed, creativity, competition, and freedom of information. Meanwhile, governments, they thrive on centralization, regulation, bureaucracy, and narrative control. How can the slowest institution in the world, the Canadian government, want to lead the fastest industry in the world? While Elon Musk and Sam Altman and company move at breakneck speeds, the government will hold committees and table a 500-page report that no one's going to read, and then try to pass a law to maybe approve a project which will be obsolete before it even gets out of Parliament. Is there an area of life that the government just won't insert itself into and make worse? Like, can they just back off for once? God, it is so perverse. It is insidious, because some of the subscribers here love when I say the word insidious.
I was given this, this is a good day. It's always a good day when you get a lovely card from a lovely young lady. But I'm here today. We're getting close to the official start of summer. Certainly the weather is headed in that direction. We had some positive news on the economic front today. 88,000 jobs created, all full-time, all in the private sector, pickup in wages, drop in the unemployment rate, big drop in the youth unemployment rate. Signs that our plan's working, but let's be clear, and we've been very clear about this. We are transforming this economy with a major plan. We're transforming this economy to become stronger, more resilient, more independent, more sustainable. And big transformations, they don't happen overnight. They take some time. And while that's underway, we are laser focused on affordability for Canadians, for Canadian families, providing them with a boost today and a bridge to that better.
I have no doubt he's transforming the economy. That's quite obvious. For the better, not so sure. However, affordability, again, man, is he ever going to drop the talking point? Affordability is the best? No, it's really not, dude. You, again, have to give money back to people because they're so broke. But anyways, that was an interesting way to say that we gained 87,800 jobs. Let's take a second. Let's clap for this. So this is good news, right? Right? Please. I want a good news for once. Well, if you listen to our media and our government, it sure sounds like it. And it also sounds like I'm a super grumpy Debbie Downer because, as usual, they aren't telling you the full story. But never fear. Elliot's here. Here's what the headlines are not telling you. The gains for May were the first significant increase in employment since November. The economy had shed 112,000 net jobs in the first 4 months of 2026. So let's do some quick math right now. If we've shed 112,000 jobs and we've just gained 88,000, actually it's a little bit less than that, then we're short 25,000 jobs for the year. So sadly, we're worse off than we were just last year. We're not doing better. Now, of course, the unemployment rate dropped 0.3% from 6.9 down to 6.6. But again, we have to look at it from a trend perspective because if you look to the graph, we're trending upwards. Sure, it's a small drop and I welcome it. I'm super glad. This is good. This is not bad per se, but guys, we're not out of recession and we're definitely not out of the woods here, okay? We're trending upwards. This is just a small little dip in a upward trajectory. Then you also have to look at the fine prints, okay? The one thing nobody wants to look at, but I did. Young workers aged 15 to 24 added 99,000 full-time positions in May, and the age group's jobless rate fell for the first time since January. The youth unemployment rate stands at 13.4% in May, still above the pre-pandemic average of 10.8%. Once again, a small improvement. But this is not the fine print. The fine print is the message behind all this. This is clearly great for our youth, and it was sorely needed. But the flip side is that the job numbers increase is, well, mostly low-paying summer jobs. Great for our youngest, but hardly a home run for the state of our greater economy. Now, what I love to do whenever there's a news in Canada is compare to get a better sense of exactly where we stand. And namely, I like to compare ourselves to our southern neighbors. Because ironically enough, ding, 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 they also had their job report come out today, same day as Canada.
It is out, the May jobs report. 172,000. Is there any doubt that this anecdotal evidence about a good labor market has been very correct? That is a really strong number. And last month, well, we had a revision from 115,000 to 179,000, which means the 2-month revision is got to be over 90,000. That is a good number. Even manufacturing posted a 7,000 job gain. So how strong is 172,000? That would be the best number since 185,000 in March. These are solid numbers. If we look at what's going on with average hourly earnings come in at 0.3 as expected.
Personally, I love the passion of American news reporters, you know? It's like much less monotone than in Canada. It's like jobs. Like, he's so happy about it. In Canada, it's like job numbers come out. We're up $87,000. Carney saved us. Thank you very much. Now, please pay us our billions of dollars. Secondly, though, the US just keeps adding jobs, all right, every single freaking month. While we are consoling ourselves in our mediocrity for only being down 25,000 jobs this year, the Americans are steamrolling us.
And I remember for the longest time, I think we always considered percent unemployment to be full employment because there's always 5% that's shifting, moving around, coming in, going out of the labor force. So we're still well below what we would consider full employment in our country.
Absolutely, and wages year over year are higher. And if you look about where those jobs are being created in the private sector, and they're in construction, they're in manufacturing. So we see these investments paying off. First, you have to build these manufacturing lines, and then the manufacturing jobs come from there too. So the jobs are being created in the right places, in the exact places where you see investments. Just this past month, Toyota's investing another $2 billion into Texas. So, you see the construction.
It's good to see that Toyota is investing into Texas. Meanwhile, Honda is pulling back investments from Canada. Oops, was I supposed to ruin this entire segment by bringing back the bad news? Sorry.
You see the manufacturing, and then you continue to see these high-skilled, high-paying jobs come online, which is what the Department of Labor is focused on, making sure those jobs go to American workers and that they have the skills to be able to take these jobs.
So 5% unemployment rate is considered full employment. And right now, the US is sitting at 4.3%. They are ripping it. This compared to our 6.6%. Yeah, kind of rough, but not as rough as working with Carney, apparently. And notice I didn't say working for Carney. I said working with Carney, and that's very deliberate. Now, forgive me for using a reel that I posted on social media yesterday to make my point right here, but I'm running out of time to prep for this episode if I want it to be released on time this evening. It's been a day, guys, okay? It's been a day. I've fallen behind. Thank God it's Friday though, right?
I don't know how else to say this, but your prime minister is not a good guy. And the truth is finally coming out. The Toronto Star exposed Carney, and it's really bad. And I hate to say this, but I've been calling this out for a very long time, and it's actually worse than I thought. Because a bunch of Liberal MPs are coming out and saying exactly how Carney is behind closed door. Like saying that during caucus meetings, Carney lashes out at certain members when he doesn't like the message they deliver. Like this Nova Scotia MP, when he raised concerns about the changes in the Indian Act, he received a stunning rebuke from Carney. Or this Winnipeg MP being told not to go to the Prime Minister with his concerns for the lack of federal response to Alberta's two-tiers healthcare system. It's actually worse than that because he's been caught yelling at MPs whenever they say things he doesn't like. Going as far as saying that he doesn't want to hear the concerns of his own caucus.
And I hate to say it, but I called it a long time ago in this video.
A friend of mine, very strongly involved in politics. And I asked him, I'm like, how's Carney behind closed door? Like, what's his real personality? It's worse than you think. Carney has this absolute belief that he and only he can control and manage the economy. He wants a makeshift central planning level of economic system in Canada.
See, Carney thinks that running a government is like running a boardroom where he gets to make the decision and everyone else just says yes and shuts up. But the reality is that in a democracy, every MP has a voice and is elected to represent the people. As such, the Prime Minister is not a dictator. Rather, he's supposed to work with local MPs to get agendas passed.
But I mean, are we surprised when we know he manufactured a majority against all conventions and ethics in order to pass his agenda?
And I mean, the mask kind of falls off sometimes whenever, for example, a female reporter dares question him. You can see the contempt.
Look inside yourself, Rosemary. Inside yourself. Look inside yourself, Rosemary. Nope, sorry, you're Bloomberg. You can't just read into my answer. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, it's a detail. It's a detail.
So in the end, is that the kind of leader you want Canada to have? Someone who rules with an iron fist and who tells everyone who's elected to beat it if it's not what he wants to hear? And by the way, I just have to say this right now, it also flies against the entire thing of we elect individuals, not parties. If Carney wants to rule through party centralization, then guess what? Floor crossers should not be allowed. But if floor crossers are allowed because we vote for individuals, then individuals have a right to be heard. And I'm sorry, Carney, but the parliament is not a boardroom. You don't have ownership over it. And every single MP has a voice and can vote against you. So beat it.
While holding truth to power and exposing what the legacy media simply won't is paramount, if we actually want to change things in Canada, I think we also need to dive into potential solutions. And I'll take a page from my childhood. I actually grew up playing hockey. I did so for 15 years and even went on to make a couple bucks doing so later on in my life. I was a goalie, so yeah, clearly not all there in the head, but my goalie coach would drill in my head a simple yet oh so important principle. Whenever things seemed to be going bad, a cold streak of sorts, he would always tell me the following: go back to basics. Why? Well, because when things fall apart, we tend to hyper-focus on the things that actually don't matter. Or we start looking for elegant solutions, when all along, an inelegant one would have been just fine. So with that in mind, let's look at Canadian history and see what we've done to generate untold wealth for our nation, and maybe we can draw from that going forward. So what does a small town in Ontario, the Toronto Stock Exchange, and Canadian banking sector all have in common? In 1903, a massive new discovery of silver and cobalt in Ontario sparked what is now known as the cobalt-silver rush. So much so that a new town was formed, that of Cobalt, Ontario, named for, well, its rich cobalt deposits. And believe it or not, this small town significantly impacted Canada by launching its modern-day hard rock mining industry and establishing the financial infrastructure of the Toronto Stock Exchange and Canadian banking. It generated unprecedented wealth, sparking a stock market frenzy that transformed Toronto into the financial hub for global mining investments. To be honest, I had no idea that this was the coming up story of the TSX. So here is where it gets really interesting. The infrastructure built for mining, which allowed these legacy projects to operate, still exists today and allows modern companies to easily tap into new opportunities without the years and immense capital expenditure which is typically required for such projects. It's literally a gift from our forefathers. We can leverage what the past produced to ensure quick and viable economic activity to be kicked into gear. And the impacts would be incredible for Canadians since we have plenty of skilled labor to tap into, with mining schools standing by at the ready to form these new workers for these jobs that would be created. It's a low-hanging fruit to alleviate our growing unemployment rate. And I want to thank my good friend at Nord Precious Metal for sharing with me this little piece of Canadian history that I had never learned about. They are a Canadian company that are pursuing the opportunity of these variables to leverage both labor and infrastructure to fast-track new projects into production without years and billions of dollars of both government and business expenditure. The legacy of this district that they operate in is giving Nord a tremendous advantage over many other mining projects, which would require immense infrastructure build-out and the development required behind it, and the import of skilled labor force. And this is what I love. It's a true Canadian mining story, like the good old days, but using modern opportunity to continue the legacy. And I think it's one of many opportunities that Canada can grasp to become wealthy again. Now, if you've enjoyed this report and want to find a way to get yourself involved with the channel and the movement, aside from liking, sharing, commenting, subbing, hyping this video up, if you want to go a step further and you want to contribute financially, well, I have a Patreon. The link is in the bio. And your contribution helps me put more time, dedicate more research to this, to put out more video and hold more truth to power. If you'd rather just do a one-time donation, I also have a PayPal link. It's written Nutella Fund. Don't worry, it's not going to Nutella. It's going to, well, actually, Nutella is fuel for my research. So there we go. Let's go into Nutella. All jokes aside, though, all donations, all contributions, greatly appreciated. Now, a couple days ago, new tariffs were announced, and I made a video detailing exactly what it means, why it's bad for Canada, what's going on, and why Trump is really pissed off with Carney. So click on the link right here. You don't want to miss this. But for the time being, my name is Ali Daniel, and I'm going to go enjoy my Friday, and I hope you do as well. Have a good one.